Yo, 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 it's your boy, RayMabry, and on today's video, I want to talk about the top 3 things that you should say when you're on a cold call. These things are some things I've learned throughout the years. I've been in the real estate business and been in a lot of different sales industries, and this is something that can help you along when you're making cold calls to give you more confidence when you're on the phone. All right, so let me just go ahead and get right into it. But before I get started, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, tell others about it, and make sure you just show your boy some support by, just continue to watching the videos and give me some positive feedback or any kind of feedback at all. All right, so number one thing that you should not say when you're on a cold call, you should not say the person's name wrong. Please, I beg you, do not mispronounce the individual's name. If you want to get off on a bad foot, that's one of the number one things you can do is mispronounce a person's name. I can't tell you how many times I get unsolicited calls and cold calls, and my last name is Mabry, M-A-B-R-Y, but people want to call me Mr. Mabry, Mr. Mobley, Mr. Mavry, Mr. Mayberry, Mr. Mosley, and what happens when you mispronounce a person's name is you kind of put them on the defensive from the start. So do not mispronounce the person's name. Number two, when you're on the phone and you're making a cold call, and this is for wholesaling or real estate, and let's say you're talking with the person and you get to the negotiation phase, do not name the price first. Do not say the price first. Once again, and this is more from a negotiation standpoint, but when you name the price first, a lot of times you lose. If by some chance you're talking with the seller and they're adamant about not giving you a price, then there's a little workaround to try to at least find out what their person's motivation is. I give you one example of what I teach my students if they're having a hard time getting a price from a seller. I say something like, if they say something like, well, make me an offer, I said, well, you know what, of course I love making an offer, but I need to get some more information from you about the property. So I do more fact finding and stuff about the property. And so once they tell me more about the property and the condition and all that, I say, hey, let me ask you a question, Mr. Seller, Mr. First Name Seller. I like to call him by the first name. I say, when did you buy that property? And they may say, I don't know, I probably bought it 20 years ago. Oh, okay, and how much did you pay for that property? And let's say in this example, they said I paid $85,000 for this property. Now, this is how you get a price from them. They won't give you a price. They won't tell you a price. They want you to make an offer. So once they tell you how much they paid for the property, they bought the property 20 years ago, and they say something like they paid $85,000 for it, then I ask them a question. I'll be like, were you trying to get that much for it? And then just be quiet. Say it again. They give you a price on how much they paid for the property 20 years ago, and you'll say something like, were you trying to get that much for it? Now, here's the deal. You know as well as I know, most people, properties appreciate in general. So nobody's looking really to get what they paid for a property 20 years ago. So asking that question, you may say, man, why would you ask that question? They're going to get upset with me. The reason you ask that question is because you're trying to find out their motivation. All you're trying to do is get a response for your question. So it would go somewhere like, you're trying to get that much for it? And a lot of times the seller be like, are you crazy? No, there's no way in this world I would sell my property for $80,000 or $85,000. Say, well, no, that's not. And then your response would be, well, no, that's not what I'm offering you, Mr. Seller. I'm just asking you, were you trying to get that much for it? But you say you wouldn't take $85,000 for the property. But let me ask you this: how much more do you need above whatever price they told you or whatever price you put out there? If you say $85,000, say how much more do you need above $85,000? Once again, zip it, be quiet, and listen to what they say. And a lot of times you will get some type of price from them. They may come back and say, well, I can't sell my property for no less than $125,000, for no less than $150,000, whatever. What you're trying to do is get a price from them. So do not name the price first. Try to work them to where they can get the price. You can get the price from them first, and then you negotiate from there. And the third thing is, you don't say something like, and I've heard a lot of gurus used to say this back in the days, when you're on the phone and you're talking with the seller, you're trying to build rapport, and you say something like, well, I only have enough money to buy one more property. Do not, I repeat, do not say something like that, because what you're doing is you're boxing yourself in. What happens if this particular seller is a landlord that's had properties for 40 years and they're looking to liquidate, they're looking to cash out, they're looking to just get out the business, and let's say they got 25 properties. By you saying something like you only have enough for one property, now you boxing yourself in. You're letting the seller know that you don't have enough funds to buy this package deal in the event they're looking to sell more properties. Or let's say by some chance they got a duplex or a triplex or a quad or something. By you saying you only have enough to buy one property, you're boxing yourself in. So do not limit yourself and do not say anything about you only have enough money to buy a certain amount of property. I know it's trying to sift out a sense of urgency from the seller, but there's other ways to get urgency from them other than to limit yourself to say something like what your limitations are. So stay away from that, all right? So let me recap. First of all, do not mispronounce the person's name. That's one way to put the person on defense when you initially calling them. You know, ideally, if the name is hard to pronounce, just don't even address them by name. Just kind of go in, introduce yourself, and just tell them why you're calling. Number two, do not name the price first. You know, once again, if they're adamant about not giving you the price, and just find out what they paid for it, and then kind of work from there. You know, find out if they're looking to get that much for it. It's going to be a lower price than normally what the property is worth now, because property should have appreciated. But remember, you're just trying to get a response from them. And the third thing is, do not say something like you only have enough money to buy one more property. That boxes yourself in, and that really gives you nowhere to go, especially if the person has multiple properties that they're looking to sell. You can't really get a referral out of them because you already told them you only have enough money for one property. So kind of stay away from that statement. But these are just three examples of three things that you should not say on cold calls. There's a whole slew of things that I teach my students and my clients. If you're interested in learning more about this, reach out to me. There's a link in the description if you want to set up a 15-minute call. But I'm telling you, I've been doing this business for over 8 years. I've been in sales for over 20 years. I know the game. I know cold calling. I know how to get some of the tough questions answered. And if you're struggling in that area, get with somebody that knows what they're doing, all right? I appreciate you taking a look at this video. I appreciate you staying to the end. This is your boy, RayMabry, about to sign off. Until next time, peace.